Sons of Angron, it's time to dive into the new World Eaters Codex. In this review, we will take a look at the army rule, each of the detachments from stratagems and enhancements, and key combinations you may consider when running them. With renewed data sheets and new ways to run the faction, we will review where this codex stands competitively. So unleash your berserkers and followers of Khorne upon the galaxy, and let's take a deep dive look at the World Eaters Codex.
The 10th edition World Eaters Codex is finally upon us, and the crazed warbands of the World Eaters are here in force. Jordan, we're going to be taking a look at this codex. You excited for this?
I'm so excited. The World Eaters are one of my favourite factions in Warhammer 40k, and oh my god. We've got the book here. I can feel the raw strength of Khorne inside this book. But there have been changes, haven't there, Michael?
They certainly have. Lots of changes to the army rule, to the data sheets, and we will cover some of those throughout this video. So as with a normal codex review, thank you very much to Games Workshop for providing us with the preview access, the wonderful Gore Storm Slaughter Pack box as well, and of course the codex and everything in it. And we will be covering the army rule, the detachments, some unit spotlights, and of course some of the changes. If you're not interested in some of the changes, then you can of course skip forward using the chapters option below. Without further ado, Jordan, let's talk about the World Eaters changes.
Yes. Now, look, there have been some significant changes. If you played the Index World Eaters, you're going to notice a significant decrease in your threat range because we have lost army-wide advance and charge. Right. We have lost +2 move. And we have also lost Feel No Pains across the army from the Blessings of Khorne ability from the Index. They have been replaced with new ones, and we'll come to that when we look at the army rule itself. But these are significant changes, because I feel like this was kind of a crutch for World Eaters throughout 10th edition so far. I think Feel No Pain was an auto-do every single turn. And I think +2 move was probably on that, unless you had that one turn where you could do like an advance and charge +2 move turn. That was kind of the default settings for World Eaters.
Yeah, absolutely. The off the face of it, this is going to seem like, oh no, what have they done to my army?
Yeah.
But trust us, it's not that bad. Mm-hmm. And we'll kind of go through why as we go through this video.
Yeah, I think overall we've got a lot more ways to play the faction. And it definitely does have teeth. It does have teeth in this book. But if we look at the +2 move, a lot of it has been added to data sheets. So you'll notice that pretty much all the data sheets have got +2 move, like near enough all of them have. So you'll notice that on the data sheets themselves.
Fantastic.
Feel No Pains. Now, there's not Feel No Pains apart from Spawn that just have the 5-up Feel No Pain.
Okay.
So yeah, that is a significant debuff. And I agree it shouldn't be army-wide. I think army-wide can sometimes feel a bit of a... If it goes your way, it's obviously like, wow, this is like, am I going to kill these World Eaters? However, I do think some units should have kept it on a data sheet.
And it's quite a lore accurate thing having Feel No Pain on World Eaters, right? They do ignore the pain, they fight through it.
They've got the Butcher's Nails.
They've got the Butcher's Nails.
Helps them ignore pain and just keep getting stuck in the fight.
Yeah, and competitively it was always important for units like 8-bound to have a Feel No Pain, because some of those weapons that were like flat damage 3, you were now able to weather the storm a bit more. And there's plenty of flat damage 3 out there, especially with Blast. You can look at other factions like Astra Militarum with their Rogel Dawns and tanks, but also things like Exocrines with their flat 3 damage. So now we know that this is going to go straight through 8-bound, and it is very much going to affect how we use them and how careful we have to be with those units.
Yeah, as a World Eaters player, you're going to have to learn restraint. Okay, you're going to have to... Staging is now going to be something you have to be very careful with. And I think, yeah, it's going to be an adjustment period for all of you World Eater players that have been playing it so far. But other than the Blessings of Khorne changes, there have been other changes across the board. So some data sheets we're going to look at particularly here because they're quite impactful and will kind of auto-includes in lists. I mean, if we look at Lord Invocatus, we saw him in quite a few lists. He's changed quite significantly. He doesn't now give Scout out to units. He basically gives a unit he leads Deep Strike and allows them to go through units as well, like move through them and stuff.
And walls.
And walls as well, yeah. So that's quite a... I actually prefer that for Lord Invocatus. I think Deep Striking him with maybe some... I mean, you could even Deep Strike Berzerkers with him, which is like an interesting aspect to look at, right? You've got a Deep Strike threat now rather than... like the biggest problem World Eaters had, and I know we've just had the Goremongers brought in towards the end of the index with World Eaters to give us infiltrate to counter the scout blocks, right? We don't have to rely on a scout move to get us forward, right?
No, absolutely. But we haven't lost all of the scout moves, have we?
No, but obviously 8-bound still, normal 8-bound still have that. Exalted 8-bound still have deep strike. So both of those still have those abilities. But yeah, we just won't be getting on a bunch, like a big sector of our army, just scout moving forward.
Okay.
That's changed.
Okay, fantastic. So let's touch on the main man, Angron.
Yeah, Popper Angron.
What's happened to this guy?
A lot. A lot has happened to Angron. And I dare to say it, I don't think you'll see him in many lists. I still look. I love Angron, and I think he will probably be in my lists, but not because of his raw power.
Right.
He has lost strength on his weapons. He has gained devastating wounds, which is a big buff.
Yep.
So he has gained devastating wounds.
Nice.
But yeah, he's lost strength. His sweep is now only strength 7. Now, this is a point for me where I read that and I almost broke down in tears. Considering pretty much all other Demon Primarchs are like strength 8 on their sweep.
And he is Khorne's champion.
I mean, have you seen his biceps?
That
Sweep is gonna...
Yeah.
He's sweeping you off your feet, mate.
Yes.
He's... But yeah, strength 7 on his sweep. His abilities have changed quite significantly.
Right.
Let's touch on, obviously, him coming back. There's still an ability. It's now only in your movement phase you bring him back, so there's no rapid ingress in this.
Okay.
But he also basically comes back on 8 wounds, not 4 wounds.
Right.
Well, obviously 8 being a sacred number of Khorne.
Of course.
So it's a thematic thing. But there's also a balancing factor. Bringing Angron back on 4 wounds, you can rapid ingress and do what you want with him. If you rolled that 666 and brought him back, it was a game changer.
Yeah.
I mean, it probably should be a game changer, right? It's a Demon Primarch coming back, but
Yeah.
to a point where it's not going to be as oppressive.
Yes, agreed.
And
Agreed.
I think that's a positive change.
Yeah, it's not an excuse for losing the game.
No.
Essentially.
Yeah.
Or an excuse for not winning the game.
Exactly.
I didn't bring Angron back, therefore I lost.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but if you do choose to bring Angron back, you can't do any other blessings?
That's right. So he takes all of your blessings. That is your blessing. Right? Your blessing is to bring Angron back, which is a pretty big blessing, to be fair.
Good, yeah.
I think, look, there's a lot. When you stack it all on, you look at it. That's like, wow. I mean, that's been nerfed, right? There's a lot of big debuffs going on to that one ability. However, I think it's for the greater good of the game.
Yeah.
However, his ability, his Primarch ability, where you can pick one of 3, they've all changed now. Oh. So he no longer rerolls hits as an aura.
Oof,
he no longer gives +1 attack in an aura.
Okay.
And no longer gives +1 to charge in an aura. So all of them have been changed.
Wow.
So he's lost all of them. So what he does do now is you can get the Blood God's Favor, and whilst he's on the battlefield, you can re-roll up to 6 of the D6 rolled.
Okay. Interesting. That'll be more impactful as we discuss the actual army rule.
Yep. He can also, there's an aura, which means that enemies selected to fall back within 6 must take a leadership check. If they fail, they have to remain stationary.
I mean, that could be very powerful.
Yeah, if you can combo it with certain abilities, it might come in quite handy. The other one, which I think is the one you pick pretty much in most games, is driven by ultimate rage as an aura. Now, World Eaters within 6 of this can ignore all modifiers to their move, to advance and charge rolls, and each time they make a melee attack, you can ignore modifiers to weapon skill and or any hit modifiers.
Okay, well, that's fantastic. Because one of the main weaknesses for World Eaters was -1 to hit.
Yep.
And it still is a weakness because there's no rerolls now from Angron, so you can't even get by it.
I'll be honest, there's rarely any rerolls in this book, to be quite honest. And that's another change to a degree because 8-bound have had rules changes.
Right.
So you're not getting rerolls to wound from them anymore.
Okay, so maybe depending on what's happening in your meta, what armies you expect to face, you might all have to include Angron just to get around some of these modifiers.
Yeah. That's his biggest, I think the biggest appeal for him is that ability, is to do that. Because otherwise, he's just a powerhouse in terms of his raw ability. If we, let's be honest, if we didn't see his original data sheet, we wouldn't sit here going, oh, he's not strong. Because if you look at that data sheet, he's strong.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, strength 8 attacks, hitting on 2, strength 14, AP 3, D6 +2 damage. I mean, that's a kicker profile, right?
Yeah.
But when you look at it before and it was like strength 16, and obviously I think he's lost an attack, potentially, but it definitely lost 2 strength, and that's obviously, it's you look at it and you're like, oh, okay. However, there are detachments to get more strength.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are ways to buff this as we go through it. Cool. That's Angron. So yeah, he's obviously better or worse. Let us know in the comments what you think of Angron now. Would you include him in your list? I will, just because I love Angron, and I do think he has a place, but it's going to be hard to justify him with depending on points.
Yeah.
It's a big thing.
Okay, fantastic. So sweeping changes as well, because obviously we can look at individual data sheets that we think are great for the army later. Vehicles and shooting.
Khorne shooting?
Khorne shooting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
we thought orcs were good at shooting. Wait till you see World Eaters are shooting.
Yeah, I mean, common misconception, Khorne is the god of war. Spilling blood can be done at a distance, as we all know if you've played Warhammer. So why wouldn't Khorne's machines be killy?
Especially in close range.
Yeah.
Because all the vehicles have got rapid fire on their weapons.
And not just rapid fire 1 in some cases. There's rapid fire 3s in there.
There's a lot of rapid fire.
Comes at a cost though, doesn't it?
It does come at a cost because all the ballistic skills are 4+. So you got like a 50-50 chance of hitting, but more shots. So
which is awesome.
Yeah, it's such a cool mechanic, I think, and hopefully this means we're going to see more variants in a World Eaters list. Like, I'd love to see some Forge Fiends in lists. I think you will be seeing Forge Fiends in World Eaters lists. Predators would be cool to see, like, maybe some Heresy variant Predators on tabletops in that white and blue scheme. Oh, I can't wait. I love that scheme. Hell Brutes as well. I mean, their shooting is nothing to sniff at as well because you've got good weapons on them.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's some good stuff on there. The Khorne Lord of Skulls, obviously, he gets rapid fire on all his weapons. So yeah, this is it's a different prospect, and I think for World Eaters players, please explore the shooting options in this book now and have a look at it as a real opportunity to expand your playstyle as a World Eaters player.
Yeah, and your collection.
Yeah.
Surely you've got to be sick of painting up 18 8-bound. Bring in some tanks and stuff because they're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so in terms of sweeping changes, obviously Angron massively changed. We know Invocatus has changed. There's less scouts available.
Yep.
We've lost Feel No Pain. We've lost a lot of advance and charge. And of course, the shooting on the vehicles are now actually worth looking at.
Another big change, Michael. Khorne Berzerkers.
Yeah.
They've lost some strength. They've lost a bit of damage output there. They've gone to 8-inch move as well to account for the +2 moves.
Okay. But
the unit sizes have changed, and this is quite impactful.
8 for Khorne.
No. Let's not get very lore driven now. Okay, let's just let's talk about the fact that it is 1 to 9, or 1 Berserker and then 9 Berserkers.
So 10 minimum.
10 minimum, or 19 Khorne Berserkers.
20
Khorne Berserkers. So you can have a 10-man unit or a 20-man unit. That is the big change to Khorne Berserkers. There's no 5s.
So that's so strange. So you can't have 5s. Maybe in a box set you don't get 2 champions, and that's why they've done it, or something.
Potentially, there's obviously something around.
Got to be some kind of model reason, right? Because you get 10 in a box. There's no. Okay.
There's 2 things to this. One, there's a massive nerf to the unit. In fact, that you can't have MSU builds, you can't have these cheap trading units, cheap scoring units. Berserkers don't fulfill that role anymore.
No.
However, there's the other aspect of it, which is the other end of the spectrum, where you're going to have 20 Berserkers led by a character that's going to be, in some detachments,
could be quite annoying.
Quite annoying and very difficult to handle, especially with a Blood Surge move. So of D6 +2 as well. That's worth to mention. It's not just D6, it's D6 +2 on their Surge move.
Yeah, and 20 models can cover a huge amount of space. So you could be lined up across the board, and then you've got this Blood Surge move of D6 +2, or in some cases there are improvements to it based on your detachment as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that is something that it's a massive change, and for everyone running Khorne Berserkers that has made 5s, you're going to have to probably try and make them into 10s now. Yeah,
then this is hugely impactful both in the Berzerker Warband detachment and also the transport one.
Yeah.
Massive in both of those.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, 8-bound as well, just to give them a mention, they have had some significant changes. They're very different. They've only got 1 weapon profile each now. So normal 8-bound give you pluses to hit, and if your opponent's below half strength, you're going to get +1 to wound as well. Exalted 8 bound are now like your dedicated monster and vehicle killers, so they get anti-monster and vehicle 3+, and also force desperate escape on monsters and vehicles. Specifically calls them out, not any others, just them, which is, I think, a very, very powerful ability when you combine it with the new Blessings of Khorne roles that we come into. And I think there are some spicy combos with them.
So that covers some of the changes. There are obviously sweeping changes with all the data sheets. We're not going to cover all of those, but you can, of course, look at those yourself. There are changes to the army rule, which we're going to be looking at now. So, Blessings of Khorne.
Yes.
Has anything changed with how it functions?
No, so the Blessings of Khorne is still the same. You still roll 8 dice. At the start of the battle round, you make a Blessings of Khorne roll, you roll 8 dice, and you can use them to activate up to 2 blessings. And basically, any unused dice that you don't use just get thrown away. Now, on the side, it gives you 6 different blessings that you can pick from. Obviously, Angron's is not included in this. It's on his data sheet, but it is a Blessing of Khorne. And basically, you got to roll a combination of dice. And then these are the ones that you can unlock by rolling those dice. Now, there are ways to modify the rolls on data sheets, maybe even adding dice into your rolls. I mean, that's quite a common thing now, rather than re-rolling dice. I mean, I'll say it now. Icons on Berserkers and Jackals, if they kill a unit, they then get a dice, which when you come to make your next Blessings of Khorne roll, you use that dice to roll in your pool of dice. Nice. So you get more chances to roll combos and stuff rather than re-roll it.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah. All right, so if we go through them, so a double 1, or any double, is going to give you reroll charges.
Nice. A little bit of reliability.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's quite, for double 1, yeah, easy.
Fine.
Double 2 plus each time. Now, this is probably the best one, I think. Each time I'm modeling this unit makes a pile-in or consolidation move, it can move up to 6 inches instead of 3.
Okay, wow.
Pile-in or consolidation.
Right, fantastic. Okay, so you can send 2 units into 1 unit, kill the first unit of one of the units, then pile in 6, hit a different unit potentially that you didn't even charge, kill them, and then potentially pile in, consolidate another 6 to tag a unit, which could be a vehicle with those exalted 8 pound that now has to take desperate escape tests.
Well, this is it. You've got obviously got that ability. Angron's leadership fallback ability comes in nicely with this. Hell Brutes are insane with this sort of ability because they keep fighting every time they're hit. So if you just tag, you could literally sweep across an entire sector of the board killing units if your opponent has just got units you can't kill. Yeah. And Hellbrutes can't kill. All right, yes. They are brutal. Yeah, very good.
Okay, cool.
Next one, Total Carnage. So this is double 3 or more. Each time I'm modeling this unit, it's destroyed by a melee attack. If it's not 4, roll a dice on a 4+, you can fight. So fight on death on 4s.
Okay. All right. Fine. Yeah, it's nice to have, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you know you're playing against a combat army, or there's a specific key turn where you know your opponent's going to try and take out your unit, and maybe clear one flank on the table, pop this, and suddenly the flank is clear for both armies. So yeah, it's definitely nice to have.
Yeah, absolutely. Martial Excellence. So this is a double 4 or more, or a triple 1 or other more triples.
Okay.
Basically, you get sustained hits.
All right, fantastic. A mainstay. Yep. Great way to increase your output. The strength generally is okay on a lot of the Khorne units. Obviously, went down compared to the index.
Yeah.
But sustained is generally going to be something you go for a lot, right?
Yeah, I think it is. I think something to obviously mention is, well, we've already said you don't get rerolls, so you can't fish. Really, Khorne, I think, is the only way to get rerolls. Some strat support might help you here. But it's still good. I think sustained is great, and obviously it's just melee only. This isn't going to affect your ranged weapons. The next one is basically the same, but it's lethals, and it's a double 5 or a triple 2+.
Okay.
So you can get lethals or sustained as one of your packs. That hasn't changed. You still have that.
Nice.
But yeah, as I said, you're not. This is going to be. I think you got to look at this as similar way to like Custodies do. In the fact that you're going to be, you can get pluses to hit through like 8 bounds. I mean, Angron as well with the ignore modifiers is great. But what these kind of do is allow you to, any ones you get, you should roll the same amount of 6s.
Right. Yep.
So it counters the misses you get. So that's kind of the way you look at it now, is efficiency.
Yeah.
And then the last one, which is really good, double 6 or triple 3. Decapitating strikes against infantry in melee, you get devastating wounds.
Okay, very nice.
So obviously faction dependent. If you play knights, you're not going to be using this. Yeah. But into those infantry like Custodies, this is sweet spot.
Okay.
Right, because obviously you get through their invulnerable saves. This affects 8 bound. This affects anything really.
Yeah, great. I mean, even against Space Marines, any way that they can modify your AP or decrease your ability to be able to hurt them, just having those 6s and automatically go through. And something that's often forgotten is that actually all of your dev wounds are saved up till after all your attacks.
Yeah.
So if there's a leader in a squad, you hit them with all your attacks, doesn't matter the different profiles, you save all of your dev wounds to the end, and then after you've maybe killed the squad, you can apply all those dev wounds to the character and just kill them. So it's a very, very powerful ability to have.
Yeah, and I think, again, it comes back to, if we hadn't had the index before, we would look at this as like some great abilities, I think, because I think, the piling solid at 6 is immensely strong, very, very good. Sustained and lethals is great, and then obviously dev wounds against infantry is also very good. You have Angron that has dev wounds, Master of Execution still has dev wounds, so we have ways to deal with these armies that we actually struggled with before. Yeah. We've just obviously lost certain things which were kind of a crutch. So I think overall, as a gameplay for World Eaters, this is a positive change. Right,
those sound fantastic. We could probably expect to see the piling one, the sustained hits, and the dev most of all. Is there anything else as part of the army rule for Khorne?
Pacts of Blood. So we can now, as Emperor Children have, we can now include demons, Khorne demons specifically in our army, called Blood Legions. So we've got some data sheets in the back of this book that we can use, but they are limited only to 1 detachment.
Okay.
So it's the same as the Emperor's Children Codex and the Death Guard Codex. It's all 1 detachment.
Okay, fantastic. But you can, of course, using the demons rules, ally in up to 500 points of demons based on the demonic packs from the demon index. So you can still do that, but you get a lot more out of the demon detachment if you really want to run the Khorne demons. Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, that's everything for the army rule. So yeah, positive. I like this army rule. It's great. Let's move on to detachments. Okay, what's first? The first detachment we're going to take a look at is Berzerker Warband. So this is like your index detachment, like the main detachment you're going to run. So if you start in World Eaters, this is where you're going to want to look. Okay? All right. Detachment rule, Relentless Rage. Okay, so World Eaters units that make a charge move until the end of the turn, they get +1 attack and +2 strength to their melee weapons. Blood Angels, eat your heart out. Okay. Fantastic. I mean, this is going to massively improve your output with your units, all of your units. Having even your jackals are going to hit a lot harder with this. Your 8-bound units, berserkers as well with a strength 4 now in this book. So going to strength 6 is a huge thing for them. Yeah, absolutely. I think, look, this is just a generic detachment that genuinely is going to help you in. +2 strength is effectively +1 to wound in a lot of situations. Sometimes +2 in certain situations, right? It really helps to really navigate that wound threshold of different targets you're going into. So now berserkers wounding custodies will be wounding them on 4s rather than 5s, right? Yeah. Or fighting orcs, you're now wounding them on 3s rather than 5s. That's +2 to wound against orcs, by the way, effectively, right? If you're doing the maths, it's not +2 to win, but you know what I mean. Yeah, of course. And it's fantastic as well because it means you get a bit more out of your blessings. You don't need lethal hits as much, and you can get a lot more out of the sustained hits part of it as well. We have mentioned, obviously, Blood Angels have a similar one with the Liberator Assault Group, but it's very different because for Blood Angels, they've got access to a lot of these little 5 model units that can run around and charge stuff, but there is a massive change that does impact this detachment. Khorne Berserkers not having 5s is massive to this because we don't have trading pieces. We have to rely on brute force, which is very worldy area, I guess, isn't it? But it's in terms of how you've got to look at it different to Liberator because it's not fulfilling the same role that it does, and also there's a lot less data sheets it's affecting. Yes, because there's less data sheets in this book than there is in the Space Marine Codex, right? So exactly. I think the biggest impact probably is the MSU 8-bound because you can't really use Berserkers as MSU anymore. So getting the +3 attacks and +2 strength on all of those just makes them a bit more efficient in those matchups. Obviously, Berserkers get a lot out of this detachment, as we're about to find out. Yeah, a lot out of this detachment. So let's take a look at the enhancements. The first one is Berzerker Glaive. So World Eaters model only, you get +1 attack and damage to melee weapons for the bearer. So Slaughterbound absolutely loves this. This is
I think instantly just goes on a slaughterbound, to be honest, because he goes to flat 3 damage. He then also has his birthday ability, so he can then get +3 attacks and devastating wounds. So yeah, it's a lot of damage coming out of this one model, and I think you probably just stick it straight on a slaughterbound.
Yeah, completely agree.
Then we've got Helm of Brazen Ire. So World Eaters model, you get -1 damage to the bearer for attacks, so shooting and combat.
Cool. So the new Demon Prince on foot would be a great option for this, just to keep them alive and getting your discount command point stratagems.
I love it. Discount.
As well.
Discount commands. I like it. Next up, we've got Favor to Khorne. So each time you make a Blessings of Khorne roll, if the bearer's on the battlefield, you can reroll up to 2 of the D6 rolled. Probably less impactful and something you probably don't really look at, to be honest.
Yeah, if you've got the points, go for it.
Yeah. The next one is Battle Loss. So you can reroll charge rolls made for the bearer's unit. These are all World Eaters models, by the way. In addition, whilst the Unbridled Bloodlust Blessing, which is the reroll charges Blessings of Khorne roll, is active, you can add 1 to charge rolls made for the bearer's unit.
Okay. You're not often probably going to have the reroll charge one because it's not particularly good.
I don't think you look at this, to be honest.
Yeah, it's really tough with the potential for 20 model Berzerker units. There's an argument for it. All right, there's an argument
potentially.
But yeah, you'd have to justify. I guess it depends what you'd lead 20 with.
Well, it'd be probably the Master of Executions would probably be the one you look at. The Juggernaut Lord could have this as well.
Yeah, it might help them increase their threat range.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because obviously he moves further, but now have to stay in coherency. But you can get a bit more movement out of the unit. Maybe, I mean, you can't have the enhancement, but here's a potential combo in this attachment is Invocatus with 20 Khorne Berzerkers.
Yeah.
Because he gives them Deep Strike, and you could ingress 20 Berzerkers.
With +1 to charge.
And Invocatus. Obviously, you can't have the enhancement, but if you did want to do it from the board edge, you could do it from the board edge with the Juggerlord or something and have +1 to charge. Would be quite nice.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Berzerker Glaive definitely and Helm of Brazen Ire is the 2 you look at straight away.
100%.
Stratagems wise, we've got Blood Offering, 1 CP, any phase, 1 World Eaters unit from your army that was just destroyed in range of an objective marker that you controlled. It basically stays under your control until your opponent takes it.
Okay.
So you got sticky on death.
Very powerful, a difficult one to play around. You don't want to get close to World Eaters. They're going to be on objective markers in no man's land. In order to take them off them permanently, you're going to have to put models on the objective marker, which now gives them something to charge. So difficult to play around. Great stratagem to have.
Yeah, love that one. Next one, Hack and Slash for 1 CP. Fight phase, 1 World Eaters unit has not been selected to fight until the end of the phase. Improve the armor penetration characteristic and melee weapons by 1.
Wow.
No, this is universally good for all of your units. +1 attack, +1 AP, +2 strength from the charge. Now, you're definitely probably going to shred what you hit. I actually like this on Spawn.
Yeah.
Spawn are really good with this because they had a bit of a buff in terms of their damage output.
Yeah.
We'll come to their data sheet at the end of the video, but they definitely look very interesting. This D6 +5 attacks on this detachment, and then they've got AP2 damage 2 weapons. I believe strength 7.
Yeah, we'll go strength 9.
Strength 7 with the +2.
Right.
Yeah. So they look good with that, but look, universally good. Berserkers, 20 Berserkers love this, whatever, right?
Yeah. 8 bound, getting to AP3 or Exalted going to AP4, just chewing through any tough vehicles that your opponent might have.
Yeah.
Is very good.
Next up, we've got Frenzied Resilience for 2 CP. Now, this is fight phase just after an enemy unit has selected its targets. 1 World Eaters unit from your army that was selected as the target of 1 or more of the attacking unit's attacks. Until the end of the phase, each time an attack is allocated to your model, subtract 1 to the damage. So 2 CP, -1 damage in combat.
Okay, so if we take the Walk-in Prince, we're going to get that for 1 command point. You've got 20 Berserkers.
20 Berserkers.
-1 damage in combat.
Yeah, it's for melee armies, that's probably not looking great for you.
That could be backbreaking.
Yeah.
Very good. But obviously
skull breaking.
It's skull breaking. Obviously very good on like big bricks of 8 bound as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Next is Skulls for the Skull Throne for 1 CP. Fight phase just after a World Eaters unit from your army destroys a character or monster. Not vehicles, right? Because they don't have skulls.
No skulls to be taken.
That World Eaters unit makes a blessing roll, Blessings of Khorne roll, and you can use that result and basically activate one of your Blessings of Khorne until the obviously next time you roll your blessings.
Okay. So interestingly, you could activate the pile-in consolidate 6, and then actually that unit that just killed something could consolidate 6.
Yeah, so you go for damage output or buffs.
Exactly, and then the rest of the unit, because you could fight the first there, and then the rest of your army could pile in consolidate 6 as well, which could be very impactful. What I do like is if you epic challenge or use precision to kill a character, you could immediately trigger this as well.
Yeah, because I think the Master of Executions is fantastic for this, because especially against like the lower toughness armies, because like maybe Guard, right, it's fantastic into this. Custodian's a bit more of a tougher challenge to get through that. But if you like, for instance, your Guard character's got what, 3 wounds?
Yeah, 3 wounds.
You know he easily cuts through a character, right? So then you can easily just pop this and then get your, like you said, your pile-ins and stuff. It's fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Next up, we've got Apoplectic Frenzy for 1 CP. Your movement phase just after a Khorne Berzerker unit from your army is advanced, you can advance and charge.
Okay.
So
Rapid
Khorne Berzerkers,
Ingress, Lord Invocatus, 20 Berzerkers, advance and charge.
advance and charge.
Just go.
Yeah. Now this one, knowing that you can have 20 Berzerkers in a unit is a nightmare.
Okay.
Berzerker's Wrath. And trust me, it is Berzerker's Wrath in this one, okay? 1 CP, your opponent's shooting phase, just after they've shot a Khorne Berzerker unit that's about to make a Blood Surge move, they can auto-move 8.
Rapid Ingress 9 inches away. Now I'm 8 inches away.
Yeah.
But to be honest, any time that you have the 20 Berzerkers on the field, because they're going to live the first shooting, so they're then going to surge move. So that's the Berzerker Warband. It sounds epic and definitely something you want to use if you're going to use a lot of Berzerkers, which you can run a lot of now. But let's have a look at the next detachment.
Brand new to the World Eaters, we've got Cult of Blood. So this detachment's all about your jackals and like your cultist, effectively, units fighting alongside big, bulky World Eaters.
Okay, right. What is their detachment rule then?
Idols of Khorne. Not Khorne Idol, like American Idol, but it's Idols of Khorne.
Idols of Khorne.
At the start of your command phase, you can select one of the Idols of Khorne abilities listed below. Until the start of your next command phase, that ability is active and affects to all World Eaters Titanic and World Eaters monster units from your army. You can only select each Idols of Khorne ability once per battle.
Okay.
Right, and there's 3 of them. You got Idol of Infinite Rage, and it's an aura. These are all aura abilities. Whilst a friendly Jackals or Goremonger unit is within 6 of this model, or within 9 of a Titanic model, you can get +1 to hit and +1 to wound.
Okay. Very nice. Very nice.
So yeah, Jackals and Goremongers +1 to hit and wound.
Cool. All right.
Yeah, nice. Idol of Burning Wrath, friendly Jackals or Goremongers within 6 or 9 of Titanic. You get +1 to move, +1 to advance and charge.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
I assume there's no advance and charge available.
We'll come to stratagems. I don't believe there is in the stratagems for this one.
Okay, but the +1 move and the charge is very, very nice.
Yeah. Idol of Blessed Blood. So again, Jackals or Goremongers within 6 of a monster or 9 of Titanic. They get 4 Pinvol.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
That's pretty tasty.
That's pretty good. And these are active once per game, essentially.
Yeah.
So you basically give an ability that applies to all Titanic and monsters?
So all Titanic and monsters, yeah. So that's going to be your Demon Princes, Angron, Lord of Skulls. So they're your effective ones you'll be picking.
You're basically just going to have these with a bunch of Jackals, Goremongers around them, getting the buffs from them. So it's a Horde army, but with focal points. Interesting.
So the first enhancement, Chosen of the Blood God. So World Eaters monster, you can get +3 to the bearer's aura abilities. So this will just affect the detachment rule. We don't have any aura abilities. It's like his free CP thing is not an aura.
Oh, okay.
So because it will specifically state next to it if it's an aura ability.
Right. Okay. But I mean, this is great. It means you can have less monsters and Titanic units on the table.
Yeah. Right.
And important to mention that the walking Demon Prince has a lone operative next to infantry.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to be untouchable from over 12 inches.
Yeah.
And they're just going to be giving this order out at 9, which is amazing.
Yeah. I think 3-foot Demon Princes in this detachment are going to be probably what you'll see competitively if you wanted to run this.
Cool.
Then we've got Butcher Lord, which is a World Eaters infantry model only. During the declared battle formations, they can be attached to Jackals or Goremongers. If the Goremongers unit, if they go to Goremongers, they gain infiltrate. So you could put a Slaughterbound with Goremongers, infiltrate him, and then he's joining all these Goremongers. Or they could join 20 Jackals.
Yeah, I mean, either of those options is great.
Yeah, because you can bring back models, remember, as well?
Yeah.
With the Slaughtermaster.
Right, okay.
Or Slaughterbound, sorry. So, yeah, he can resurrect a Jackal as well, potentially.
Okay.
If it comes in clutch.
Yeah, cool.
Then we've got Brazen Form. So this is World Eaters Monster. Add 1 to the bearer's toughness, and the bearer has a 5-up Feel No Pain. So this is really good on the Winged Demon Prince.
Right.
Because he's less toughness than the normal Demon Prince because he's got wings. So now you can get him to that toughness 10 mark, but also give him a 5-up Feel No Pain. Obviously, you could make the foot one have a 5-up Feel No Pain and toughness 11, which is great.
Very durable.
But I think that's fantastic. I think this is a good one. So far, we've got 3 great enhancements. But the next one, Strategic Slaughterer. Don't know if there's such a thing, but apparently. After both players have deployed, you can redeploy 3 Jackals or Goremongers unit. And put them in reserve as well if you wanted.
I mean, that is good for keeping the Goremongers alive.
Absolutely.
I guess it depends on whether you care enough. But
this is it. I think we do this a lot on the masterclasses, is talk about how you can aggressively infiltrate units and then redeploy them back. I know it's a guard tactic as well.
Yeah.
So maybe he's learned from the Astra Militarum, I don't know. But yeah, it's a good tactic to do, but obviously it's going to be matchup dependent whether or not you want to infiltrate aggressively.
I think one of the... So is it just Jackals you can redeploy?
Jackals or Goremongers.
Oh yeah, it's a shame because it would have been great to redeploy some of the Titanic or the monsters just to move around based on your opponent's firepower. Yeah, I don't know if we'll see that as much, but we've got some great options anyway. So.
The other 3 are just so good that I don't know if you would take it. But look, you've got options. You're spoiled for choice if you want this detachment. So
cool.
Let's go into stratagems though. So the first one we got is 1 CP, Bloody Vengeance. Any phase, 1 World Eaters monster or Titanic unit. You can use this stratagem even though it's been destroyed. Until the end of the battle, each time a model in a Jackals or Goremongers unit from that army makes an attack that targets the enemy that destroyed you, you can reroll the hit.
Okay, fantastic. So you kill one of my big models, I'm going to get reroll hits against you with all of my Jackals and Goremongers.
Yep.
Okay, nice. So this is actually pretty good with the sustained Blessing of Khorne, or lethals, depending on what you're playing against, because obviously you're not particularly strong as Jackal units.
Yeah.
So that's a really nice one to have, but obviously you kind of want to keep your monsters and Titanic alive, so you won't see it that much.
Yeah, I think the good thing is you could also use the Idol of Infinite Rage for the +1 to hit. +1 to wound aura, and then combine that with this. I mean, if you did have the attached infantry character to this, maybe a Slaughterbound, re-rolling all hits for sustain to try and get as many on his birthday ability, potentially. I mean, look, we're lining up starts here, I guess.
Yeah,
but
I mean, to be fair, the redeploy enhancement's great if you also have the infiltrating Slaughterbound with the Goremongers.
Yeah.
So that's a really interesting play. And then obviously having this, they kill a vehicle or a Titanic or a monster, and then you can just have the full shebang. Great.
Nice.
Excellent.
Next one, Drawn to the Slaughter, 2 CP. Any phase 1 Jackals unit that was just destroyed, you can use this stratagem even though they've been destroyed. Add a new unit to your army identical to your destroyed unit in strategic reserves at its starting strength. The stratagem cannot be used to return destroyed character units to attached units. Now, if I'm right, as per the balanced data slate, you can only do this once.
That is correct.
Because obviously you can't keep using a stratagem like this. But 2 CP to bring back 20 Jackals.
Great.
I mean, look, you basically think of your army as 7 units of Jackals, right?
Well, yeah. Basically, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And you definitely take 20 in order to be able to do this.
Yeah.
What is important to note is you wouldn't be able to do this for 1 less with the Demon Prince.
I was just about to ask
the unit is not on the table.
Yeah.
So it is not within 12 inches for you to apply your stratagem.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. 1 CP in the shadow of Brass Idols. Your opponent's shooting phase or the fight phase just after they've selected its targets. 1 Jackals or Goremongers unit from your army that was selected as the target as 1 or more of the unit's attacks. You can gain a 6-up Feel No Pain. And if your unit's within 6 of a monster's or Titanic unit, you gain a 5-up Feel No Pain.
Oh, amazing.
4 pinball, 5-up Feel No Pain, anyone on 20 Jackals?
Amazing. Okay,
Lovely.
Very good. Very, very good.
Yeah, great. 1 CP for Bloodthirsty Horde. Fight phase, 1 Jackals or Goremongers unit. from your army that's been selected to fight that's not been selected to fight and within engagement range of one or more enemy units. Until the end of the phase, each time your unit is selected to fight, when determining which models in the unit are eligible to fight, any models in your unit that are within 3 inches of one or more enemy models are eligible to fight. When resolving those attacks, such models can target one or more enemy units that are within 3 inches of them and within engagement range of their unit.
Okay, so in short, your unit can fight, all of the models in your unit can fight if they're within 3 inches of the target, but that target must be in engagement range of at least one model from your unit. So you can't fight somebody that's not in engagement range but is within 3. You have to fight people that are in combat with you, but you can kind of fight through walls with this. That's where it's most useful, is if someone's like standing behind a wall and you can get like 1 or 2 models in, you can now fight through the wall essentially with the 3 inches. But also if you've got a really big unit, it does allow more of them to be able to hit your opponent.
Yeah. Absolutely. So yeah, I think the 1 inch away from the wall tactic doesn't work against jackals anyway because of the size of the bases, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, you're guaranteed to get this off no matter what if someone wants to go behind the wall, which is pretty good. 1 CP, fail not the Blood God. Fight phase 1 jackals or goremongers unit from your army. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, reroll a hit roll of 1. If you're within 6 of a monsters unit or 9 of a Titanics unit, you can reroll the hit roll instead.
Wow, so another way to reroll hits.
Yep.
Great, and we've got sustained available, lethal hits available. That is fantastic. It is only, of course, jackals and goremongers, but that's still great.
It seems a bit weird that we got 2 stratagems that trigger reroll hits.
Yeah, you'd think a reroll wounds is probably due in one of them, but...
Yeah, or something else, right?
I guess we'll take it.
Yeah, because why would you ever play it for... I guess 1 CP means you always get it.
Yeah, the whole army.
The whole army gets it rather than 1. So I guess it's just, sure. Right, last one, Brazen Idol, 2 CP, your command phase, 1 World Eaters monster or Titanic unit. Select the Idol of Infinite Rage, Idol of Burning Wrath, or Idol of Blessed Blood to any of your detachment auras. Until the start of your next command phase, that Idol's of Khorne ability is active for your unit instead of any other Idols of Khorne that is active for your army.
Oh my god.
You can only use this stratagem once per battle.
Right, okay, so once per battle you can have
another
the 4-up aura. Let's be honest.
A 4-up invuln aura.
The 4-up invuln aura. And the 5-up feeling of pain.
Yeah.
Great, so you can send 1 unit out there that you know is going to get attacked, use this stratagem, and then the turn after send the whole army out there and use the actual ability across the whole army for 4-up invuln. And then you've got the 5-up feeling of pain available in both of those turns as well.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, because obviously you play this for 1 CP rather than 2 because you can have a Demon Prince who just play it on himself. And then you can trigger that with the enhancement to give you +3 to your aura ability. So this always goes on that character. And then he just does the 4-up invuln within 9 at all times, which is
amazing.
Pretty good.
It's amazing.
This detachment is really good.
It's interesting. I think it depends on the actual output of goremongers and jackals, because if it's rubbish then it's not that good a detachment.
It's rubbish without the buffs,
right? Okay,
if you didn't have, because they've lost strength as well,
right?
They've lost durability because they've obviously not got the feeling of pain. They are toughness 4 now, so jackals are toughness 4, but they obviously don't have feeling of pain built in. So you have to, only 1 unit's going to get that feeling of pain a turn.
Okay, fantastic. So it is essentially, it's not so much maybe a damaging army, but an army that may be good in teams that can just stand there and take punishment, dominate objectives in the mid-board, and have a few hard-hitting units like maybe Khorne Lords of Skulls, or more realistically several Demon Princes, maybe even Angron.
I think Angron has a place in this detachment. I think because he can just keep getting reborn.
Yeah, I like the rerolls actually, because it means you're more likely to get something like lethal hits if you do want the goremongers and jackals to actually hit relatively hard. And the pile in 6 consolidate 6 is massive, because if your opponent doesn't have the ability to deal with the bodies that you're throwing out with these jackals, you're going to be all over their objectives and gunking up all of their tanks and firing lines with just jackals, and it's going to be a nightmare to deal with. It's
worth mentioning that jackals are only OC1.
Okay.
Goremongers are only OC1, so
good.
it's not like, I think when we look at it as a team's army, you're looking at trying to get as many jackals onto objectives. Yeah. Obviously, their OC is not anything to boast, so they're not crazy. They do have sticky, which is good, and they obviously do give you the extra blood point as well to roll an extra dice on your blessings.
If they kill anything.
Goremongers have reactive moves.
Okay.
Which is good.
That's really good, yeah.
So yeah, overall, I like it. Like you said, I think it's a team's detachment more than anything, but you could have success with this in singles, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, Michael. It is a return of a beloved Khorne army. The Khorne Daemonkin have their own detachment.
Very nice. There's blood tithes involved. I know a particular person I used to play who was all about the Khorne Daemonkin, and I hope you're well. But what do we get with this detachment? What are all the rules we have?
Okay, so we get blood tithes, as you mentioned. Now, this ability is going to, first of all, it's worth saying we get demons in this detachment. This is the combo demons World Eaters army. So the demons that we get allied to us in this book are Scarbrands. We get Bloodthirster, we get Bloodletters, Blood Crushers, and Fleshhounds. So these are the...
I mean, they're all good units.
Yeah, exactly.
Is the thing, right? You've got utility with the Fleshhounds, you've got damage with those Juggernauts, and of course the Berzerkers and Scarbrand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So the ability itself, each time a Blood Legions or World Eaters unit from your army destroys an enemy unit, roll 1d6. On a 3+, you gain a Blood Tithe points. At the start of the command phase, you can spend one or more Blood Tithe points to activate one of the following abilities until the end of the battle.
Okay.
So yeah, we had to kill a unit, and then obviously we had to roll dice on a 3+, we get the point.
Okay, nice. All right.
So there's 4 different things we can activate. One of them, for 2 blood type points, is Blood Legions and World Eaters get feel no pain against psychic and mortal wounds.
It's not bad. I mean, you're just going to get it for the whole game, so you might as well
activate it.
And mortal wounds can be a massive issue for World Eaters. A grenade is going to kill on average a whole 8-bound, for example.
Well, the big thing here is it affects obviously your big Bloodthirster. It affects your, not that there's a little Bloodthirster, there's just Bloodthirsters, but Bloodthirster and then obviously Scarbrand. They have a 4+ invul. It's going to affect Angron because he's a World Eaters unit. So now he has the feel no pain against mortals, which is to get past invulnerable saves. People most likely throw grenades before they go in. Well, now there's a bit of a deterrent to really stop that.
Yeah, cool.
Next one, Demonic Rage. So Blood Legion units get Lance.
Okay, and how much does this cost?
3 blood type points. Okay. For 4 blood type points, we've got Boon of Blood. Blood Legions unit get 4 up invul. So all Blood Legions, so all demon units.
Okay.
So Bloodletters will get it as well.
4 up invul. Nice. Yeah. Okay.
For 5 blood type points, a Mighty 5. Might of Khorne. Blood Legions get your Blessings of Khorne ability.
Right. Okay. Very nice. Pardon 6, consolidate 6.
Yep. Sustained.
Dev wounds against infantry. Yep. Very interesting. Very interesting. So to break this down, you kill units. You roll a dice. On a 3-up, you get a point. You can spend the points at the start of a battle round.
It's the start of the command phase.
Start your command phase to get a tithe. Can you spend multiple and buy multiple tithes in one turn?
You can activate one of the following abilities.
One tithe. Okay, so you got to decide whether you want to just go for one of the early ones or just save the points up and go for one of the big ones. And obviously, all you have to do is kill 5 units potentially, and you can get the max tithe thing.
Yeah.
But obviously, you have to roll the dice. So depending on what you play against, it could be difficult. But there are ways to make it a bit easier.
There are ways to make it a bit easier. Off camera, we were talking about this, and I was kind of comparing this to Coterie of the Conceited detachment for the Emperor's Children, because they have their pledge points.
Yeah.
They pick a unit, they kill it, they get a point. On this, we have to roll a 3+ every time we kill a unit. So there are failure points here.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a case of you're going to have to be very careful with what you spend it. If you're playing an army like Genestealer Cult, you're going to love this ability because there's loads of units, loads of little trading units you can kill.
Yes.
You're playing Imperial Knights, you're going to hate it. It's probably like the basics of this detachment rule, right?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
But obviously, restriction-wise, we can have up to 1,000 points of Blood Legion units in a Strike Force game.
Nice.
So, yeah, really good. And no Blood Legions from your models from your army can be your Warlord.
That also makes sense.
Yep. So World Eaters do have to appear in this list, and they will have to be your Warlord.
Cool.
Enhancements. Right, so Icon of War, so World Eaters model. While a Blood Legion unit is within 6 of the bearer, the unit has the Blessings of Khorne ability. If the Might of Khorne ability is active, so the Blessings of Khorne Blood Tithe ability, then whilst they are within 6, they can reroll Battle Shock.
Okay, cool. So we don't really care about the Battle Shock.
Nope.
But giving the blessings immediately from the get-go is very, very nice.
Yep,
very,
absolutely.
very nice.
And it's just within 6. It's just an aura ability, so it's good.
Yeah,
it's
cool.
Good. Blood Forged Armor. Blood Legions or World Eaters model. You can give them a 2+ save, and when the bearer is destroyed, you just gain a Blood Tithe point.
Okay, so in terms of the characters we can put this on, obviously we've got the Slaughterbound, we have Princes, which are already a 2-up save. We've got our Juggernaut Lord.
Interesting to note on the Juggernauts as well. They're not 2-up save inherent.
Right.
They're
yes.
3-up save inherent, not
that
2-up.
did change. Yeah. Or you could put it on a Bloodthirster.
And have a 2-up save and a Bloodthirster.
That's disgusting.
Yeah. I mean, if he's destroyed, you gain a blood type point. Cool.
Yeah.
It's just have a penny for your losses, I guess. But I think the 2-up save is what you're after here. Anything with a 4-up save, you can just give him a 2-up invul, or 4-up invul, sorry. It's great.
Yeah, very nice.
Disciple of Khorne, Lord of Juggernaut model only. Yes, this is my favourite enhancement. I've just read it again. This is actually my favourite enhancement. During the declared battle formation step, the bearer can be attached to Blood Crushers or Flesh Hounds. And while leading one of these, the bearer has the Deep Strike ability, and it has the Blood Legions faction keyword instead of the World Eaters faction keyword.
Obviously, everybody wanted this to happen. This is a detachment thing. We would have all been really sad if they hadn't done this. People have been wanting World Eaters on Juggernauts anyway, just like the ones in Age of Sigmar.
So now you can convert up using the Age of Sigmar Blood Crushers models and just have some Blood Crushers using the data sheet and just put World Eaters riding Juggernauts.
That's very cool. That's amazing. For me, it's an auto include just because of how cool it is. In terms of its impact, it seems like it's probably pretty good because you get to move through walls, which is insane with Juggernauts.
So yes,
that is an auto include. Oh my god.
Yeah, because you've got the ability to move through walls. And then obviously you give them they have a 10-inch move already. Yep. And each time, so they get to fight within 3 as well.
Wow.
Because that's what the Lord gives to his unit.
Move through walls, fight within 3 with your Juggernauts. Great because they'll do mortals to stuff. So your opponent might remove the models that are close. So now you can make sure that when you pile in, you're going to get all the goodness. This is great.
The other thing to note as well, it gives you another dice on your mortal wounds from your Blood Crushers.
Yeah.
So that's potentially 7d6. Each 4+ is going to do D3 mortal wounds.
Awesome. Auto include. Slam that straight in there.
Yeah. Well, let's not even look at Flesh Hounds.
Don't even bother trying to lead them. There's no point.
Yeah. Love it. Disciple of Khorne. That's what I am. Blade of Endless Bloodshed. World Eaters model, add 1 to the attack, strength, and damage characteristics of the bearer's melee weapons, and each time the bearer destroys an enemy unit with a melee attack, do not roll, you just automatically gain 1 blood type point.
Okay, so anytime you kill a unit, you get a blood type point.
Slaughter bound.
Yeah, slaughter bound. Great. Absolutely fantastic.
I think him with +1 attack, strength, and damage, loving it.
Yeah, so you just guarantee once per game you're going to get it.
Yeah.
And most of the time, to be honest, you're going to get it. So yeah, great.
Yeah. Summoned by the Slaughterer is the first stratagem for 1 CP. Now, this is one of the most tricksy stratagems you could find in a codex.
Okay.
So any phase after or when the last model in a unit is destroyed before removing it from play, 1 blood letters unit from your army that is in reserves, you can set that unit up anywhere on the battlefield wholly within 9 of that destroyed model and not within engagement range of 1 or more enemy units. Then remove the destroyed model from play. You cannot use this stratagem more than once per round.
Okay, so when is this used?
Any phase when the last model in a unit is destroyed before removing it from play.
So you could shoot an enemy unit dead with some of those much improved shooting assets. You could land an inch away with bloodletters, and then you could charge with them.
Yep. Or
that's going to get nerfed.
You could Overwatch.
Or you could Overwatch. That's interesting. Kill a model.
Put bloodletters in front of the charge.
That's a really interesting play. Yeah. Okay. There's some really cool things you can do here.
There's some ways as well to manipulate bloodletters going into strat reserve, so we'll come to that as well.
Very nice.
So we're going to recycle this.
I like it.
1 CP Demonic Fury. Start the fight phase, 1 Blood Legions unit from your army. Select 1 friendly World Eaters unit within 6 of your unit. Until the end of the turn, melee weapons equipped by World Eaters gain Lance. If the Demonic Rage blood type ability is active, which is the Lance for Blood Legions, then the World Eaters also gain Twin Linked. Now, this is one of the only ways to get reroll wounds in this codex. So I think this, combined with devastating wounds against infantry, you can reroll, you can fish for dev wounds now on your 8-bound. Popped straight in. Amazing.
Fantastic. And Lance is obviously amazing as well. Just to be able to wound some of those higher toughness targets or even elite infantry with 8-bound on 2s. Yeah. Very good.
Absolutely. Then we got 1 CP, a Worthy Skull. You've got a worthy skull, Mike.
Thank you.
That's right. Fight phase just after a Blood Legions or World Eaters unit from your army has fought and 1 or more enemy characters or monsters models were destroyed as a result of those attacks. That Blood Legions or World Eaters unit, you then gain D3 blood type points, and you can spend one or more blood type points you have to activate one or more blood type abilities. So you do this in a fight phase for 1 CP. You can activate blood type point ability, and you basically just get D3 on top of the one you want to activate.
Great. So if you were saving up for one, but you didn't quite have enough, instead of waiting for a battle round in order to actually spend anything, you can use this when you kill something, spend it immediately, and actually per battle round you could have 2 tithe points go off.
Yep.
Which is, I think, the only way that you're going to be able to get 2 active in a single battle round, which is fantastic.
Yeah, and obviously you had to kill a character or monster model, but doing that, and then obviously you would then get on a 3+, get the blood type point for killing a unit.
Yeah.
So you could potentially get D3+1. There's loads of ways of getting blood type points, but this is your sure way of getting any of the blood type abilities, and then still being able to pick one in your command phase.
Yeah, look at those low-knock characters on the table. Anybody that tries to infiltrate with them, assassins, try and get them. Yeah. And then you've got some good stuff. I like that it doesn't work on vehicles because they don't have skulls.
Yeah, exactly.
Very cool.
Exactly. 1 CP, a Blessing of Burning Blood, the triple Bs. Your opponent's shooting phase or the fight phase, just after an enemy unit is selected as targets, 1 Blood Legions units within 6 of a World Eaters, and it was selected as a target of one or more of those attacks. The World Eaters unit get a 5+ invul, and if the Boon of Blood ability, which is the 4+ invul for Blood Legions, is active, then the World Eaters also get a 4+ invul.
Cool. So the demons give the shield to the World Eaters unit. That's very, very good. Very, very good on things like your berserkers. Does this work on vehicles?
World Eaters unit.
Wow, okay. So you could have your predators potentially with 5 guns, your land raider with a 5 pin gun, your rhinos.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, really good. Really good. 1 CP Demon Tide. Your command phase, 1 World Eaters unit from your army. Select 1 Blood Legions within 6 and 1 destroyed mounted model. Up to D3 beast models or up to D6 destroyed infantry and return to that Blood Legions units with their full wounds remaining. So basically,
bring back demons.
Bring back demons next to World Eaters for 1 CP in your command phase.
Very good. You don't even have to kill anything for it. You just do it.
Yep.
You could swing objective markers with this. You could just increase the amount of models you have in those juggernauts. You can just bring them back. Oh, very good. Very good.
And it does state that you can't bring back attached characters, just if you were wondering.
Yeah.
1 CP Murder Call. End of the opponent's fight phase. 1 Blood Legions unit from your army is on the battlefield and not within engagement range. You can remove it from the battlefield and put it in strat reserves.
Amazing.
So this is what I was saying with Bloodletters. You can just take them off the board, put them in strat reserves, kill something next turn, pop them back on the board.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
I think the Bloodletters stratagem should be 2 CP.
I agree.
I don't think it should be 1 CP because that is very, very strong.
Yes.
Luckily, Bloodletters, they're good. Obviously, once you start stacking abilities, they become a lot better.
Yeah.
But we don't have characters that can lead them. So they are just a data sheet. But it is a very, very tricksy maneuver. But this detachment, I think, is strong. Yes. It's got teeth. There are failure points that you need to kind of learn as you go through, as you play it. But it's good.
Yeah, very, very good. Fantastic. And very thematic. So if you've been waiting for that kind of detachment for a while, Khorne and World Eaters players, here it is. Enjoy.
Possessed Slaughterbound. Sorry. Possessed Slaughterbound. That's right, yeah. That's right.
Okay.
So, detachment rule, Brazen Fury. World Eaters possess units from your army have the following ability. So, in your opponent's shooting phase, each time an enemy unit is shot, if enemy models from this unit were destroyed as a result of those attacks, this model can make a Brazen Fury move. To do so, roll a d6. You can move a number of inches up to that result, and you must end as close as possible to the closest enemy unit, and you can get within engagement range. So, it's a surge move for your 8-bound.
Okay, cool. And you can get engagement range of that unit?
When doing so, these models can be moved within engagement range of that enemy unit.
Okay, cool. So you can only move into engagement range of one enemy unit, the closest one. You can't type multiple. But obviously, when it comes to the fight phase, you could pile into multiple. Possessed keyword. Let's take a look at that.
In terms of what's got possessed, it is only the Slaughterbound and both 8-bound variants.
Right, okay. So surge move with all of your 8-bound.
Yep.
Fantastic. I think I can see what direction the army list building is going to go for this
18 8-bound. If you love that list, you can run it in this. So I think this is it's a great detachment rule. And obviously it has all the balanced data slate stuff in there, so you can't do a few battle shocks. You can only do this once per turn, per unit. So cool. So enhancements.
Yes.
Malicious Vigor. Okay. Slaughterbound model only. Each time the bearer's unit makes a Brazen Fury move, it moves 6. Nice.
Very nice. Guaranteed.
Guaranteed
No
6.
chances here.
Nope.
Straight up 6 inches.
Let's just combine this with our Piling Consolidate 6.
Yep.
We can tag units. Now, there are stratagems across the game that allow you to like charge if your opponent's basically fallen back.
Yep.
It's effectively the same thing, right? If your opponent only has a 6-inch or 5-inch move, they fall back, they shoot you, you just get back into combat.
Yeah. That's a real problem.
Yeah.
That's a real problem.
So yeah, it's amazing. Amazing. Next one, Killing Clarity, because it brings clarity when you kill.
Of course.
A demon model only. Each time the bearer's unit destroys an enemy unit, roll a d6. On a 4+, you gain 1 CP.
I mean, yeah, why not? Extra command points. There's some expensive strats in here, aren't there? So we may as well have the extra command points.
Yep. Frenzied Focus, World Eaters Demon model only. Each time a model in the bearer's unit makes an attack, a critical hit of 5+ is done on 5s, yeah, instead of 6s.
Do you want to just do that bit?
Yeah. Frenzied Focus, so World Eaters Demon model only. Each time a model in the bearer's unit makes an attack, a critical hit is scored on a 5+ instead of a 6.
Wow.
So let's just double check what the demon units are. Obviously, our demon princes do count. So do the Slaughterbound. So our Slaughterbound are going to get the demon keywords, and they're going to get crit 5s.
Okay, so 8-bound, just 8-bound?
So obviously, because it goes on a Slaughterbound for the enhancement,
Right.
but it can go on a demon prince as well.
Okay, so you could have a crit 5 demon prince, but since you're running so many 8-bound, you may as well just overkill.
Yeah, overkill.
With sustained and lethal, yeah.
Absolutely. Violent Demise, so World Eaters Demon model only. The bearer's deadly demise inflicts mortal wounds on a 2+ instead of a 6. In addition, the bearer gets deadly demise D3+1. The Slaughterbound does have deadly demise D3.
Really?
He does, yeah.
Okay.
So
that's annoying.
he'd be doing it on a 2+ and D3+1 if you had this.
He'd be doing it on that, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or you could just have a demon prince that does this.
Yeah, true.
And I think you do take a demon prince on foot, so I think that would probably be the place I'd put it.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to be losing your Slaughterbound and 8-bound, so...
True, but the only issue with putting it on a demon prince is that you'll probably have him near other units, like within 3 of infantry.
True.
Whereas if you send the Slaughterbound in and they die, there's nobody else for them to mortal wound of your own.
Yeah.
Because my concern would be they shoot your or kill your unit and then you just blow up your own stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be interesting. You have to play around with it.
Or they have precision like all of Emperor's Children and snipe out the character. And
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Good play.
Right. So now we've got stratagems. The first one, 2 CP. We're starting off with 2 CP here. Demonic Resistance. So your opponent's shooting phase or fight phase after they've selected targets. A possessed unit can basically -1 to the wound roll for 2 CP.
Amazing. 2 CP, -1 wound. It should be 2 CP. It's incredibly powerful on your units. These guys, like even the princes, it's going to be very good on.
Yeah. And obviously, look, we'll say it again, but demon princes reduce it to 1 CP.
Yeah.
I think that would probably be where you see that being used.
Yeah.
1 CP demonic strength. So fight phase, 1 possessed unit has not been selected to fight. Until the end of the phase, each time attack is made by a model allocated to an enemy model, if your unit has the 8-bound keyword and that enemy unit is not a monster or vehicle, add 1 to the damage characteristic. If it's exalted 8-bound and it is a monster or vehicle, you get +1 damage.
Okay, so it's 1 CP.
Yeah.
+1 damage against the right target for that type of 8-bound.
Yeah.
1 CP for +1 damage on
Yeah.
a whole unit.
Yeah, we've got too many 2 CPs
That's
in this one, mate.
nuts.
Yeah.
1 CP for
So flat 3
+1
damage on all your 8-bounds, yeah.
You just... What?
Yeah, it's nuts, isn't it?
That's crazy.
Yep.
Okay, sure. Just why not?
Especially when you're anti-vehicle monster 3+.
Why not?
But also
You
affects
could
the
just-
Slaughterbound.
Yeah. 3 dudes in a Slaughterbound.
Well,
You just kill everything.
Yep, ain't that a story? 2 CP Immortal Fury. Fight phase just after an enemy unit has selected its targets. 1 World Eaters possessed unit from your army that was selected as target of 1 or more of the attacking enemy unit. Until the end of the phase, each time a model unit is destroyed, if that model is not fought, you can remove before removing it from play. You can fight. So fight on death, automatic fight on death for 2 CP for 8-bound.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Imagine you've got sustained hits going on, you've got the crit 5 unit, and they just fight on death and kill everything.
Lovely.
Oh.
Rapid Manifestation. 1 CP, movement phase, exalted 8-bound unit coming down from deep strike. You can 3-inch deep strike, which is 6 because of the balanced data slate. A unit target with stratagem can't charge in a turn it was set up.
Good.
Yeah, I'm glad they can't. I
look,
just wish that wasn't a stratagem in this.
It's interesting, right? Because in a detachment where you're going to have a lot of 8-bound, it's a nice way of being able to score cards as well. But there do need to be some stratagems that aren't quite as cooked as
if you're looking for card scorers, you're going to go for something cheaper than 8-bound.
True, but from deep strike, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's not bad to give your opponent a problem.
Surprisingly, it's a good stratagem. Just it's a weird stratagem.
In a weird detachment.
Weird detachment for where it should be, but it is a good stratagem. You're right. 1 CP for Warp Stalkers. Your movement phase or your charge phase, World Eaters possessed unit has not been selected to move or declare a charge. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes a normal, advance, fallback, or charge move, it can move through enemy models, excluding monsters or vehicles. When doing so, you can go for engagement range, and any desperate escape are automatically passed.
So you can't move block it?
Nope. For 1 CP.
Why? There needs to be some kind of answer.
No, Michael. We can do what we want.
You can't move block
We're
it.
possessed.
Not that you'd want to anyway, because if you shoot it, it just moves into combat with you. That's so good. And if you've got Juggernaut Lords on some of these units, and you're moving through terrain with the Juggerlord, and then you're also moving through units, it's really good.
It is.
It's really good.
We've now got Horrifying Violence.
Sure.
For 1 CP, your opponent's command phase, 1 possessed unit that's within engagement range of an enemy unit, they have to take a battle shock test of -1.
Okay, fine. Cool. They can't all be great stratagems.
That's
You're
just a
rarely
dud.
going to use it.
It's a dud in a pack of great stratagems.
Look, you can't, not every stratagem can be good, otherwise you get busted detachments.
Yes.
All right, fantastic.
But this detachment kind of makes me glad that we don't have 6 up Feel No Pain anymore.
Yes. Can you imagine if you had the 5 up on Exalted 8-bound? This would be unstoppable.
Yeah.
Unstoppable. So at least you know that any 3 damage you get through does kill an 8-bound. If you've got the firepower, you can deal with it. But if it hits you, it's going to hit you really, really hard.
There's a lot of tricks to be done in this, and damage potential is off the charts.
Yeah.
Because obviously it's focused on your main melee unit. So yeah, really good.
Yeah.
Final detachment in the book. Okay. Goretrack Onslaught. This is your typical transport detachment.
Rhino Rush.
Rhino Rush, but with World Eaters.
Nice.
Rush to the fray. Okay. We're rushing. 1 World Eaters unit from your army that disembarks from a transport until the end of the turn, +1 to charge and gain lance.
Excellent.
That's a fantastic ability. I think that's probably my favourite transport detachment ability so far.
Yeah, Lance is great.
Yep. Cool. World Eaters, so enhancements. Murderous Onslaught. World Eaters model only. If the bearer's unit disembark from a transport, you can't be overwatched.
Perfect.
Stick that straight into your list.
Perfect.
Next one, aggressive deployment. World Eaters model. If the declared battle step formations, if the bearer starts the battle embarked in a dedicated transport, you gain Scout 9.
Okay, nice.
Straight in the list.
Yeah.
Unleash Hell. We got Maximus Meridius Decimus, whatever his name is. That guy. Gladiator.
Excellent.
Yeah. World Eaters model only. At the start of your shooting phase, you can select 1 vehicle model within 6 of the bearer, or if the bearer is embarked within a transport, you can select that transport model until the end of the phase. After the selected model is shot, select 1 enemy unit hit by 1 or more of those attacks. Until the start of your next turn, that enemy unit is suppressed. Whilst the unit is suppressed, they're -1 to hit.
Okay, that's a lot of words.
Just for -1 to hit.
For you make an enemy unit -1 to hit with a vehicle that's nearby.
Just don't bother. It's such a
yeah,
niche.
It's weird. It's interesting, I guess.
Like obviously, it's until the start of your next turn they're suppressed.
Yeah, could lessen some firepower maybe.
But I'd just rather spend the points elsewhere.
Yeah.
Especially when you look at the next one, Infernal Infusion, World Eaters model once per battle, you get fight first.
Sick.
So
Fight
I think
first. Great.
that Scout 9 and no Overwatch is like the 3 you go with.
I think the important notes to cover here: Masters of Executions don't have fights first anymore.
Yes.
They re-roll hits and wounds against characters, and they also get command. No, you can re-roll advance rolls, and your surge moves you can re-roll as well.
That's right. Yeah. So you can re-roll the surge roll when you're surging, but it says makes a blood surge move, so that's only for berserkers.
Yeah, of course.
Cool. And then, yeah, obviously, yeah. But it's each time this model targets a character, so he doesn't give the rerolls to the unit, it's just himself.
So the fundamental issue you have with these enhancements is they can only go on a Master of Executions if you're taking rhinos.
Yep.
And then if you do want to take a Gorebound, can you even fit them in a Land Raider? What's the capacity on the new Land Raider?
So the capacity is 14.
Right.
So you can put the Slaughterbound and 6/8 Bound into a Land Raider.
Okay, at least that gives you some leeway for actually using the enhancements.
Yep.
Because the Master of Executions isn't that great.
No.
You kind of want to put him in. You probably just want to take the Berserkers and run around without the character support. Obviously, Khorne's going to be great here as well. But yeah, so the enhancements are locked to maybe one Master of Execution if you really want it.
Yeah.
But Gorebound is probably most likely, especially as they don't have the durability of Feel No Pains or anything.
Yeah, and I think the Scout Line has to go on to the what's his name, Master of Execution. It has to go on him because he can only go on dedicated transports, and a Rhino is the only dedicated transport you have. But I think the no Overwatch on 6/8 Bound is great. That's just a unit you don't mess with, so I think definitely doing that.
Great.
But yeah, great. It's a good set of enhancements, and I think a great detachment rule. Obviously, you're gonna have to invest in like 6 Rhinos, and a Land Raider probably, but it's awesome, right?
Yeah.
Stratagem time. So for 1 CP, Endless Pursuit of Violence. End of the fight phase, 1 World Eaters infantry unit and 1 friendly transport that they are able to embark within. If your World Eaters unit is wholly within 6 of that transport, it can embark. So you can fight and then just get back in.
Perfect.
You don't have to kill anything either. It's just end of the fight phase.
Okay.
So
very nice.
Pretty good. 1 CP, Smash Through. We got a Hulk stratagem.
Nice.
Your movement phase, 1 World Eaters vehicle model from your army that has not been selected to move this phase. Each time your unit makes a normal advance, it can move horizontally through terrain features.
I mean, that's amazing. That's amazing. I mean, across that and having some of the Juggernaut characters, you can move through any terrain you want. So that's fantastic. Especially if you've got the Land Raider, you kind of need that for that Land Raider.
Yeah. Yeah, because it can be done on a Land Raider because it's a World Eaters vehicle, yeah. Love it. 1 CP, Aggressive Disembarkation. Your movement phase, 1 World Eaters Rhino model from your army that has not been selected to move this phase. 1 World Eaters unit embarked within your Rhino can disembark, and when doing so, models in that unit can be set up anywhere wholly within 6 of your Rhino and can be set up within engagement range of 1 or more enemy units. So you can't be wrapped.
So if you wrap it to try and stop the 10 Berserkers getting out, a classic tactic, and if you ask me, perfectly fine, it's within the constraints of the game, it was a good way to counter it. You can't do it anymore if you play this detachment, because they just get out into combat with you.
Yeah, unless you've got like 20-odd models just wrapping a Rhino.
Yeah.
That's the only way you could stop it potentially, right?
Yeah, because of the 6. But you can end up in combat with them.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very difficult. If you've got the Master of Executions, the Fights First is in here, right?
Yes.
So you could have the Master of Executions with the Fights First, and then you know that you'll fight before your opponent. Because if you set up an engagement range, you haven't charged. So they'll hit you first.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Great. 1 CP, Full Throttle Assault. Your movement phase, 1 World Eaters Rhino model from your army has not been selected to move this phase. Till the end of the phase, each time a World Eaters unit disembarks from that, after it's made a normal move, it's still eligible to declare a charge. So they get the Land Raider Assault Ramp ability.
We all knew this was coming. It's in basically every transport detachment in the game.
Yep.
Absolutely immense, especially when you combine it with moving through a wall.
And you combine it with getting Lance.
And getting Lance. Great.
Love it. 1 CP, Unrelenting Advance. Your opponent's shooting phase just after an enemy unit is shot. 1 World Eaters vehicle model from your army that was hit by 1 or more of those units. You can make a normal move of up to 6.
That's incredible because it's not a surge move.
No. You
can move anywhere with that 6. You can get out of dodge, get behind a building, get onto an objective marker, whatever you want. That's incredible.
Yeah. It's important to say, though, that this can't be used in conjunction with the next stratagem.
Right.
And the next one's Fury Unleashed. 1 CP. Your opponent's shooting phase just after they've shot. 1 World Eaters Rhino unit from your army that has 1 or more wounds remaining and was hit by 1 or more of the attacking unit's attacks. 1 Khorne Berserker unit embarked can disembark and make a Blood Surge move.
Cool. Excellent.
So obviously, if you've got the Master of Execution, you can re-roll that Surge move as well.
So you've got to stay...
7 inches away from the Rhino?
No, more than that, because they disembark 3.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, true.
They disembark 3, they can move 6. You've got to stay more than 10 inches away from that Rhino.
Yeah, Fury Unleashed.
Yeah.
I'm glad they said that you can't combine that with the reactor move, though.
That would be ridiculous.
Yeah. But this detachment, I think, is fun.
Yeah.
I think it's good. It's not like a like sometimes we look at detachments and go, oh, they've just done that just to like, it's just adding another detachment in, right? But this can be done quite well. I think it's got a lot of teeth, a lot of cool tricks that can be done as well. You're gonna have to, there's a lot of things to remember when facing against it and keeping out of threat ranges and stuff.
This is a great transport detachment. Dare I say, probably one of the best transport detachments we've seen in 10th edition. Absolutely fantastic, and I'm sure World Eaters fans will be very happy with their metal boxes.
Absolutely. Well, that is all the detachments in the Codex. We obviously have Vessels of Wrath, which is the downloadable one from Warhammer Community, so I'll put the link to that in the description as well. So you can get that. As well alongside this, which obviously will have its own strengths and inherent stuff that will come from this, because a lot of changes have happened.
Well, picking your different blessings now for your vessels are going to be completely different, because they're so the blessings are different themselves. Interesting.
I still think it's an 8-bound detachment.
Oh yeah,
but now you've got slaughterbound to consider potentially, and all the strats in that as well. So it's definitely worth having a look at that. And we will review that probably. Well, we'll definitely do it on the masterclass.
Definitely on the masterclass. Yeah. So look out for that, because that will be coming shortly after the Codex.
Yeah.
And we'll go through all of the detachments. We'll go through unit spotlights, how to deploy World Eaters in general, what some of the strengths and weaknesses of the army are, and of course how to use each detachment, and a competitive list for each detachment as well, as some of the really cool tabletop tricks you can do, or simple damage output for some of the detachments.
Absolutely. Data sheets. We're on to data sheets now. So this is the last part of the review. We're going to take a look at the ones we haven't spoken about, because we've already gone in depth to quite a few of the changes, I think. And look, there might be things that we haven't noticed. There might not be grenades keyword or something. I don't know. But little things like that. We're going to look at the most impactful changes on the data sheets. So yeah, as we mentioned, like movement's changed. Strength has come down on most things. Some things have gained extra attacks as well. But let's start off with probably one of my favorite characters in Warhammer 40k, Khorne the Betrayer.
Okay.
He's had some big changes, actually. He's no longer got his unique plasma pistol. He's just got a standard plasma pistol.
He lost it.
Which just blows my mind. They gave Khorne hazardous. Now, he already was a hazard, okay? Yeah. You don't need to make himself hazardous, all right? Gorechild, he's still flat 3 damage, 8 attacks. So he's really good there with his combat. And he's one of the only sources of reroll hits and wounds. So he gives his unit in melee reroll hits and wounds of 1. So it's not for shooting now, it's just for melee.
Nice.
Then he's got his Betrayer ability, because obviously Battle of Scalathrax, he ended up killing World Eaters and split the Legion. At the end of the charge phase, if your model is leading a unit and not within engagement range of 1 or more enemy units, you must take a leadership check for this model. If the test is failed, 1 bodyguard model in the unit is destroyed. He loses his mind and just goes, I want your skull. So yeah, that's what he does.
Great.
He now doesn't automatically fight on death. He now has a on a 2+, he gets back up with 3 wounds remaining.
Okay, nice. And that's end of the phase?
At the end of the phase, he was destroyed, yes.
Right, very nice. Cool. So that can help you with an objective marker. There's definitely some tricks I can see across some of these attachments we've looked at as well. Yeah. But yeah, nice.
I love
great
Khorne.
ability. Great ability.
I love Khorne. Obviously, because he needs Berzerkers as well. There's a lot of Berzerker based stratagems in this codex. Berzerker Warband is going to be great in as well. But yeah, so he moves 8 inches as well. Obviously, with the +2 move, it's quite fast. Lord Invocatus, we've mentioned, obviously, the 2+ save is gone. He's got 3 up save. His attacks have pretty much stayed the same as far as I can see. He's hits on 3s with his pistol now for some reason. Again, the bolt pistols now hit on 3s rather than 2s for the characters. Sure. But yeah, his ability, as I mentioned, he gives deep strike to the unit he's leading. But he now has the ability to do mortal wounds on the charge. Cool. Rather than, because before it was the Lord on Juggernaut, he now on a D6, on a 2 to 3 they suffer 1, on a 4 to 5 they suffer D3, and on a 6 they suffer D3 plus 3 if he makes a charge move.
Nice.
So if he heroics, that triggers as well, which is really nice.
It's an extra source of mortal wounds, great.
Yeah, absolutely. Next one, we've got the Lord on Juggernaut. As we mentioned, he gives you the fight within 3 ability for his unit.
Move through walls.
Move through walls. Yep. He can lead 8-bound, Exalted 8-bound, Khorne Berzerkers, which is pretty cool. Lord Invocatus, who can he lead, actually? That's an interesting one. He can lead the exact same. Great. So he can lead the exact same. Master of Executions, we've gone through him. He can lead Khorne Berzerkers. The Demon Prince, yeah, he's had a couple of changes now. He's getting rapid fire on his shooting as well, just to point out. Shame that Khorne didn't get rapid fire on his plasma pistol.
Yeah.
He just got a downgraded plasma pistol. So yeah, he gets Lone Operative. The Demon Prince gets Lone Operative whilst he's within 3 of World Eaters infantry. He gains Devastating Wounds from his melee if he charges, and then once per battle round, 1 friendly unit from your army with this ability can use it, and then when a World Eater is within 12 to use stratagem, you can reduce it. So pretty good.
Yeah, excellent.
Demon Prince with wings. I don't ever see a place you take him. He's not as bad as he was, because before he died at the end of the battle if he didn't kill the target he picked. He doesn't have that. He now forces Battle Shock at -1, which I do like personally.
Okay.
But it's not impactful in the wider game.
Yeah.
But he also does Mortal Wounds if he ends a normal advance move over an enemy.
Great.
Roll 6d6.
Sure.
He gets a grenade, effectively.
Fine.
Yeah.
Probably not seeing him, to be honest.
No, sources are flat 3 damage though. So as with every Demon Prince.
Yeah.
So it's pretty good. The Slaughter Bounds, so this is the new model. So he's got 10-inch move, toughness 6, 3 up save, 5 up invul, 6 wounds. His combat is just 6 attacks, 2s, strength 8, AP 2 damage.
Okay, so he's like an 8-bound that hits on 2s?
Hits on 2s,
with
yeah.
2 extra attacks?
Yeah,
Okay.
1 extra attack.
1 extra attack, right,
Yeah.
okay.
Look, again, this is where I'm conflicted, Mike. And I need your guidance because I think a lot of these have been impacted. Like the data sheets, we look at it and we go, he should be much better than an 8-bound, right? His attack sheet, he should have like 9 attacks, right, or whatever. But then you look at other abilities you get in the Codex from detachments or whatever it may be, or even his ability where he gets +3 attacks, and you go, oh well, if you had his stat line being better and triggering abilities on top of that, he then breaks it a bit. So it's trying to find a balance, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah, so what you're looking at here is if you've got an index, then the data sheets need to be better because you only have a couple of ways to play the army. So you'll naturally see that the data sheets get worse in general, obviously some are side grades, as you get to a codex because there are so many more ways to play the army and the detachments in general are better. The Berzerker Warband is better beyond the fact that you can't just fat 6 advance.
Yeah.
So the data sheets will generally seem a little bit worse, but obviously he does have some great abilities.
Really good abilities.
So it is, and he can carry enhancements for.
But this is it. He's an enhancement carrier. Once you start giving him +1 damage, he starts to look a bit better, right? So yeah, you got to look at detachments to make them where you feel the character would be, right? So whilst this model is leading the unit in your command phase, you can return 1 bodyguard model to the unit as well.
Cool.
But this guy is really cool though because he's basically like normal 8-bounder fighting with demons, like Khorne demons, like basically battling with them for their soul. But then Slaughter Bounds are fighting with bloodthirsters. That's pretty baller, right?
That's interesting.
Yeah, I like it. So yeah, 8-bounds, we've already gone through them and what they do. Their stat lines are significantly different, so I'll just go through their melee stat lines. So the chain blades are now for regular 8-bound. They've got chain blades with 5 attacks, hitting on 3, strength 8, AP 2 damage. The exalted 8-bound have chain blades again, but they're anti-monster and anti-vehicle 3+, with 4 attacks, hitting on 3, strength 8, AP 3 damage. So both 8-bound hit on 3s. Normal 8-bound get +1 to hit against anything other than monsters and vehicles, and give that as an aura as well.
Okay.
But obviously, if they're below half strength, you get +1 to wound as well.
Sure.
So there are ways to get them to hit on 2s. They innately effectively hit on 2s.
Okay. Yeah.
And then obviously Angron can guarantee them staying at that level.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously they've lost all the other weapon profiles. But it's still good. Scout on normal 8-bounder, deep strike and exalted.
Okay, so we're in an interesting place where actually the normal 8-bound look like they're better just innately than exalted 8-bound, right?
I would say so.
You'd only take exalted 8-bound if you need to support your army with some anti-monster, anti-vehicle stuff.
Well, the stat lines are exactly the same.
Yeah.
There's nothing different about the stat lines. It's just abilities and
One
weapons.
less attack?
One less attack.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in terms of their innate stat line.
Yeah, of course.
Their weapon profiles are different. But Yeah, it depends on what the meta's like. If you're facing tougher, like loads of vehicles and like the vehicle spam list, Exalted 8 Bound will be your best friend.
Yeah, cool. Okay.
Right, next up we got Khorne Berzerkers. Now they still have Blood Surge, but they get D6 plus 2 Blood Surge.
Nice. So it sort of is their movement 8 inches, so they can move up to that. So you now do have to stay 9 inches away from Berzerkers.
Absolutely. And then, as I said, they've lost to strength, so they're now only strength 4 with their chain blades. The Eviscerators are the same, I believe. 3 attacks, hitting on 3, strength 8, AP 2 damage.
Okay, fine.
And then, as I mentioned with the icon, when you kill a unit, each time the bearer destroys an enemy unit, so it could be with a pistol if you did that. You gain 1 bloodshed point. Each time you make a Blessings of Khorne roll 1 additional d6 for each bloodshed point you have, after which all of them are gone. Terminators, they move 7 inches, the fast Terminators.
Okay.
But they reroll hits against the closest enemy target for shooting, and then reroll charges against the closest target.
Fine.
They got rapid fire on all their shooting as well.
Yeah, they could have got something far better to reflect the Red Butchers, right?
I think we were all hoping for a character to lead them as well, to be honest.
Would have been cool, yeah.
Jackals, again, that's 7 inch, toughness 4. Their combat is completely garbage. But then obviously they've got sticky objectives and the icon ability.
Nice.
They do have grenades as well.
T4 is an improvement.
Yep, absolutely. It's to make up for the no feel no pain.
Yeah.
Goremongers are the same stat line, same data sheet from when they were released from Kill Team. So react to move. Within 9, they can move D6. They do get Lance on all their combat weapons.
Nice.
Chaos Spawn can advance and charge.
Great. Okay.
So Chaos Spawn, they've got Scout 8 as well, and Feel No Pain 5+. D6 plus 4 attacks as well.
So this is a new all-star unit, I think.
Yeah.
But for very different reasons to previously.
They're not just durable units; they're like weapons.
Yes.
Now.
Weapons.
It's funny because in every Chaos Codex we've looked at, the Spawn are like a highlight.
Yeah.
They move 10 with a Scout 8, and then they've got D6 plus 4. If they're in the Berzerker Warband, they go to Strength 7 with D6 plus 5 attacks. AP 1 2 damage. You could give them the plus 1 AP as well to make them AP 2 damage.
Amazing.
So these guys are nuts.
Okay.
Hellbrute, loads of rapid fire shooting. Combat is incredibly good. In your opponent's shooting phase and in the fight phase, each time they're selected as a target, they can immediately, or they can fight after the attacks have been resolved. Cool. So they can keep doing that. It doesn't say once per time, it just each time. So
what you were saying earlier was you pile in 6, consolidate 6. You're going to do that each time you're selected to fight with them. So
they slap you, you just go bang.
You hopefully kill them and then do it again and keep going. It could get silly. So just don't put yourself in a position where it starts to be
kill them early. They do have an interesting ability devoted to destruction where they get +2 attacks if they have 2 melee weapons. Nice. So +2 attacks to both of the profiles. Cool. So that could be the Power Scourge, the Hellbrute Hammer, Hellbrute Fist.
Yeah. But they do have to pick one each time they fight.
Yeah. Defilers, it's probably the best Defiler in the game.
Okay.
Because it has rapid fire on all of his stuff.
Yeah.
But it has an interesting ability. It still can go through terrain and stuff 4 inches or less because it's a crab. And then at the end of your opponent's movement phase, if there's an enemy that's set up within 12 of this model, you can either shoot at the target, normally, or you can declare a charge against it.
Okay, so it's going to be like a 9-inch charge, unless they're obviously setting up 6 inches away. But basically, don't set up near it. Cause
either it's charging you or shooting
point.
You.
Yeah, taking the risk.
To be fair, the shooting is good.
There's a lot of it.
There's a lot of flat 3 damage shooting.
Yeah.
And rapid fire 3, so you could get D6 plus 6 shots.
And you got flamers as well available.
And you got flamers, so
the torrent alone might kill like a little unit that's trying to score.
If your meta's a deep strike meta, put a Defiler in.
Yeah. Interesting.
Land Raiders are the same. So they're pretty much the same. They've just got rapid fire and all their guns.
Fire and worse ballistics, which is going to be the same for all the vehicles. Yeah.
Forge Fiend is interesting. Basically, if you shoot the closest target within 18, you can reroll all hits.
Amazing. I'm a big fan of the Forge Fiend.
This is the best Forge Fiend in the game.
I think you take 2 to 3 in every World Eaters army.
Well, considering it's rapid fire 1 blast, D3 shots per ectoplasma, and you got 3 of them, I think,
that's mega.
It's pretty hefty. I mean, it hits on 4s, but you're re-rolling hits, so that makes up for it. Mauler Fiend has, I'm pretty sure, the same ability as before. It does have rapid fire in its melters as well, which is funny.
Nice.
Each time it declares a charge, target something below starting strength, you get +1 to charge. If it's below half, you get +2. and each time it makes an attack, you get +1 to hit, and if it's below half, you get +1 to wound.
Nice. Okay.
So
+1 to hit's good for the melee. Yeah.
Predator Annihilators, rapid fire and everything. And each time a model makes a ranged attack, if it targets closest monster or vehicle, you can reroll the wound and reroll the damage.
Okay.
The Destructor suppresses units.
Makes -1
that
to hit.
shoots -1 to hit.
Right. Okay.
But again, rapid fire and
Not as
everything.
good as the XJP that most other destructors have.
No.
Okay.
Interesting, the Rhino. Now, this is something that we never spoke about in the detachment, but its rule is different because it's meet any challenge in your opponent's movement phase. Each time an enemy unit is set up, it enters a normal, advance, or fallback move within 9. Any units embarked within it can disembark.
So you can just choose to disembark if someone ends up close to you.
Yeah.
Great.
With the Fights First enhancement.
Just the surge.
All the
If
blood
someone's
surge,
within 9 inches of you, they're getting surged.
Yeah.
Because you go D6 +2. That's a real problem.
Yep. So yeah, that's what and rapid fire and everything. But
Yeah.
I'm going to keep saying it because I love it. Helldrake. Now, you might be annoyed because the Emperor's Children one is still better, but it doesn't really change. It gets rapid fire 4 and it's auto cannon.
Sure.
But yeah, you just don't bother. It's
You
got
probably don't bother taking it, to be honest.
anti-fly 2+ devastating wounds,
Yeah.
and +1 to hit against fly units. Which is cool.
Yeah.
Lord of Skulls. So if it's on the battlefield, you can make a Blessings of Khorne roll and roll 1 additional 6. Or when you make a Blessings of Khorne, you roll 1 additional d6.
Okay.
It's a super heavy war engine, so it can go over terrain features 4 inches or less. Same things like knights, basically. And then obviously it's got its...
But can't go straight through walls, so that's important.
Yes, yeah, only 4 inches or less in height. It can go over them and stuff. And then rapid fire and everything. And then the Demons data sheets are, I believe, the exact same as all of the Demons ones from the new index.
Okay, fantastic.
That is the World Eaters Codex.
That's the World Eaters Codex, and look, the initial hit with some of the changes we've discussed might feel like a low blow, but there's so much room for expansion with this, with your collection, with the way that you play the army. All of these detachments are very unique and will cater to very specific collections. As a World Eaters player, are you now excited to pick the book up and start playing them again?
100%. I think there's so many detachments in here that I'm excited to play. It's not just like I picked one and I think I could play all of them and be happy doing that. And I was one of the people that has read the book and went, this sucks. Why have I lost this? Why have I lost this? The more I've read it and the more I've kind of understood where to go with the army and what this book is trying to tell me, the more I'm excited to play this and actually convert up Blood Crushers to be World Eaters on Juggernauts, make my World Eaters collection again with different units, Forge Fiends coming into it, Hell Brutes as well, using maybe Forge or the Horus Heresy Dreadnoughts as the chassis and stuff. There's so much. And I think World Eaters players, you have a lot to be excited for with this book. And I think genuinely look forward to just playing it in a different way other than running at your opponent. And don't worry, if you just love that play style, you can still do that with this book. There's still World Eaters in terms of what you know it as the combat orientated, getting stuck in combat. It's telling you to do that, but it's giving you other things to play with.
Amazing. So wipe those tears away, start gritting your teeth and dive into the World Eaters Codex. We will, of course, be releasing a Codex Masterclass where we're going to go through all of the detachments, the army rule in depth, how to deploy, the basic building of army lists for it, and, of course, some competitive lists that we've written as well. And you can look forward to some of our YouTube content as well as the battle reports, preview content for the World Eaters, and all the links will be below. And we'll see you in the next video.